Welcome to this edition of Matters. Today we're going to talk a lot about take-home, which our industry sometimes calls retail. But first I have to tell you why we chose this topic at this particular time. As many of you know, Terry and I recently adopted a baby daughter, and while we were awaiting her birth in St. Paul, Minnesota, we had an opportunity to watch a lot of TV. And while I was watching TV, I found myself getting fired up. Terry calls it fussed up. And I was. I've got to tell you that if you haven't seen, there's some TV commercials right now that show Wilma Flintstone selling shampoo. And I can't believe that that could be possible. This is going to be a couple-of-minute rant on how in the world we can allow, as professionals, we can allow Wilma Flintstone to sell shampoo and styling products.
Well, it's also the girl from Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
And Jane Jetson.
Jane Jetson.
Yes.
Question I've got for all of you. If you were to be on a comparative scale as a hair care expert between you and Wilma Flintstone, Jane Jetson, and the girl from Scooby-Doo, who do you think would win? Who would be higher on that scale? Honestly, I'd vote for you every time. The only challenge is, I kept asking myself the question, why, oh why, can Wilma Flintstone be on the TV selling shampoo? And the answer I got back is because we as professionals allow her to be.
We left room.
We left room. Every time a guest leaves our salon and we haven't made our professional recommendation, that's a guest that's going to leave your salon and go out and endeavor in trial and error hair care. They're going to go out and pick something that was sold to them either in a fashion magazine or on a television show that may or may not be, in most cases may not be, the best thing for their hair.
How is Wilma able to be the expert?
Well, she's clearly not the expert, but she has a voice.
But this marketing campaign from this shampoo company thought Wilma would do a better job than a salon.
Yeah.
Well, that's sick.
Yeah. And as we've said many times, one of our favorite movies is The American President, and there's a line in there that says, in the absence of true leadership, people will listen to anyone that steps up to the microphone. And in all honesty, Wilma Flintstone has stepped up to the microphone relative to styling products and hair care. And very many of our good friends in this business, hairdressers, have not stepped up to the microphone. So we have left room.
Let's recount what the customer expects and what they truly, truly want from their professional. The number one thing they want is for them to be the expert.
Absolutely.
And talk about what they do and what they know, and to let me, the consumer, enjoy them as a professional.
But Terry, expert, that's a big word with big responsibilities.
Absolutely huge.
I think that part of where our industry has gone by offering so many different brands in the front of the salon is it's been easy not to be an expert in any brand. What we've chosen to be is we learn what our smoothing serums are, and we learn what our volume sprays are, and we learn what our hairsprays are, but we don't have a connection or an affiliation or are perceived as an expert in any one brand. And that's so necessary because that's really the beginning of take-home in our industry, was when we did have a connection to a specific brand.
Well, recount the history just quickly.
To quickly go over it, what caused this big change where take-home first came to the forefront was when clients, salon guests, transitioned from a weekly client where literally all of their shampooing, conditioning, and styling products were taken care of by the salon during that guest's visit to a client that came in every 4 to 6 weeks, but every day shampooed and conditioned and used styling products in their hair. The opportunity that that left for all of us as professionals is that we had to professionally recommend the proper products for them to use at home in between salon visits. We were no longer their sole hair care provider, but we still could be if we made the right recommendations for them to take products home to use in between visits. The payback for that is that every time a guest uses products that you've recommended and enjoys them, they think of you. So the impressions that that makes on a guest, the enjoyment, the top of mind that that keeps you as a professional is really key.
Well, not to go into such baby talk, but being a new mother for the first time, people love to share other people's enjoyment of products. The amount of people that have talked to me, oh, you have to use this diaper cream, or this is my favorite baby product for lotion or massage, or this and that. People love to hear other people's secrets.
Girls do that?
Oh, for beauty, are you kidding? On everything, whether it's clothing, stockings, beauty, hair care, women love to hear other people's secrets and tips about beauty.
See, a guy would keep that to himself, thinking there's an advantage in being the only one that knows that. I can't remember the last time somebody recommended a motor oil to me. But I know it does take place because I've heard people recommend all of those things to us as Emma's been around. So please understand that being an expert in any product or in any brand is a huge commitment, but it's one that has huge payoff. Before we move on, I want to ask all of you a question. How many of your guests currently buy hair care products or skincare products?
Everybody. Did I get the right answer?
Well, you know the answer.
Well, we don't have time to wait. They're not here.
They might not have said everybody. They're probably thinking, most people answer that question, because Terry isn't most people. Most people answer that question that 2 or 3 out of 10, or maybe 4 out of 10, buy hair care products from them while they're in the salon. But everybody buys them. Everybody buys shampoos, conditioners, styling products, hairsprays, and skincare products.
But not everybody buys from them.
Because we haven't asked.
That's exactly right.
And that's a big part of being an expert. That's a big part of what we're going to share today in this recording.
And it's a big part of just being a business person.
So, Terry, you were going through a list of expectations.
Well, I just purchased the new Vogue magazine, which is 600 pages of just beauty and fashion. And I'm sitting here during my quiet time. Every time there's a break, even during this recording, I'm opening up the magazine immediately just to say, gosh, what am I missing out on and what's big for spring? The customer wants to be current. That's number one. They want to be current in the color of hair color that they're wearing, the style that they're wearing, the products that they're using, the makeup they're wearing, and they expect the salon professional to convey to them what is current. So therefore, professional recommendation is so key, not just in the hair color, not just the technical side. And for some reason, I feel hairdressers have a commitment to the technical side of a customer being current, but not the product side of a customer being current. And it doesn't make sense to me, but we witness that all the time.
Well, think back to the last day, or maybe earlier today, when you were working with guests in your salon. I want you also to think back to the last show that you attended. And think about the involvement of product in the finished result. I want you to think about the tools, the liquid tools that you used, and the products that helped you to achieve the finished result. We believe every guest needs the added confidence that comes from looking and feeling their best, not just today while they're in the salon, but every day. And that's quite a responsibility to make the right recommendation, to train them in their at-home hair care or at-home skin care, so that they will achieve the result. The payback is, if they do achieve the result and look their best and feel their best every day, they're a great walking advertisement for you. And we know that a satisfied guest, a guest that loves us, brings us more guests.
Well, the other thing that the customer is attracted to is people who love what they do and passion that they have and display while they're doing it. I can tell you, being in this industry this many years, I am so drawn in to a contagious hairdresser, it's crazy. I can sit in an educational class for even our men's line that we represent, and all of a sudden think I should be using those men's products because the educator was so passionate up there on stage that I think I'm missing out on something that's hip and cool because I'm not using it. See, people are attracted to passion. They're attracted to the expert status. They're attracted to someone who knows it, has embraced it, because that's not my job. That's the hairdresser's job.
Well, and Terry, the thing that came to mind while I listened to you there was that people hate to be sold, but they love to buy.
Love to. In fact, I'd like to buy a little bit today.
I don't think so. We have to record. What's your next point?
The next point is the salon experience itself. Every step of the salon experience, I'm judging as a customer how I was greeted, how I was taken care of, the professional pass-off, the shampoo that I received, the quality of the chairside manner, the dialogue that was exchanged between me and the hairdresser, the care that I was given. What was the care factor of my service experience? And was every step discussed with me? I'm keeping score throughout my entire visit. So the last part of the service, which is usually the professional recommendation, if you miss that, then I'm going to feel my salon experience is questionable.
One of the people that we studied under, Jim Gilmore, wrote a book called The Experience Economy. And he's really the person responsible for bringing this whole concept and word experience into the forefront. And one of the questions he asks is, if you had to charge an admission price just for them to walk into the salon, could you?
And would they?
And would they? Would they pay it? And he says that not so that everybody charges a price of admission before someone walks into our business, but so that we think that if we did, how much better level would we have to perform at? If we were charging people just to walk in and meet us and greet us, and just to walk through our take-home area, and just to take a tour of our building, would they be willing to pay for that part of the experience? The advantage that we have, since we're not in the museum business or the art business, we're in the beauty business, is that we touch them in very special ways, and we can be the expert, and we can control the experience while they're in the salon. But we have to bring about the desired result, which is they take home the products that we recommend. They take home that experience so that they can extend it.
You know what I have found when I'm in salons, and I don't know if I've even said this to you, honey, is when I look at the customers in the waiting area, I can almost tell if they use professional products or not, just by looking at them. And I also am always concerned, and I talk to the owners about this on occasion, is how can the staff look better than the customer? I mean, if a customer really is provided a service experience, and then they can duplicate that effort at least until the next visit. So when a customer doesn't look good or the waiting area is weak, I know professional sales are a struggle for them.
Well, and I think that's so true because I think by and large, the service providers, the hairdressers and estheticians in our business look at this part of the business as optional. I can play or not play. I can participate or I can let it go today.
So their commitment is to technical 90% and maybe take home 10%. What is it? Is it 100%? If we sat down with great producers, even if we sat and interviewed Robert Cromings right now and his team after doing work with them, I think that their commitment to technical and their commitment to take home the gap has shrunk between the two. And I think that that's what we have to concentrate on.
We ask a question in our classes that says, do you think the guest can tell the difference between a good haircut and a great haircut? And sometimes after wrestling with that, people will come back and we all agree that the guest can't tell the difference between good and great, but they certainly can tell the difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut. In most cases, the difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut, they experience the next morning when they try and recreate the look that you've done for them in the salon today. And in most cases, the reason why they can't recreate the look is because they don't have the same tools, liquid tools and styling products that you used the day before when they were in the salon with you. So really, your future is dependent on making the right product recommendations for the guest while they're in today. I've got a quote that I wrote down after a course that I took from Tom Peters and Kevin Roberts, who wrote the book Love Marks. And it says here, the role of design is to turn shoppers into buyers. Here's what I think about for our industry. The role of the designer, the role of the hair designer or service provider, is to turn guests into buyers.
Beautiful.
And it's the same principle. You're the designer. People get caught up in your passion and your enthusiasm and in what you stand for. And the more that we celebrate the craft, the more that we celebrate and are loyal to the industry and the profession that we've chosen, the more people want to participate.
We just taught a class to about 30 or 40 stylists, esthetician, front desk staff. It was an entire team. And one girl stood out to me, beautiful girl. Her eyes just were mesmerizing. And I can remember one at the breaks, and I know she represented the front desk staff. So I sat down with her and I said, tell me a little bit about yourself. And I said, has anyone talked to you yet about going to school? And she said, actually, I'm going to be graduating the first week of April from aesthetics. And I said, oh my gosh, I can see that. I said, honey, how old are you? And she said, 19. And I said, well, let's talk about some of the challenges you're going to have right now. At 19 years old, there's a couple of things that are going to prevent you from being successful. First one being, you're 19. Second one is the products that you're going to be talking about are products that at 19 years old, I wouldn't even have dreamed about using. So when you talk about a $125 moisturizer or a $70 topical cream or a $25 cleanser, at 19 years old, that would have been unheard of for me. And if I can't do it myself, or I can't think of enjoying it myself, sometimes that prevents me from talking about it. Because I can't, I think you can't either. Or if I can't, I think you won't. The other thing is I said, because your buyer is going to be more established, financially more secure probably, sometimes double in age, that's going to be preventing you from doing your job because you'll be worried about not being perceived the expert in front of people that are much older than yourself. So that's going to prevent you from having professional recommendation conversations with your guest. If you can overcome those two things and really attack those up front, you're going to be unstoppable in this business. But if you use either of those two things as an excuse, you're going to struggle in this business every day. And I felt like I wanted to get that message in her head because I can see that if she doesn't get that now, we could possibly use this great addition to our industry. Does that make sense?
Sure. And so the takeaway for you on that, you being the listener, is that what things are in place that if you don't do them could allow us to lose you in this industry because you become bored or because you become frustrated or desperate.
Or your numbers aren't where they need to be for you to be an asset to the organization.
We believe that everybody starts right now from where they're at and with one quality decision can start to move in the right direction. I love a new instructor that's come into my life by the name of Jim Stovall. And he's got what he calls the Jim Stovall one excuse fits all, or one reason fits all excuse for anything that you fail at in life, or anything that's not going well for you in life. And what he says is reach over to the nearest mirror and look in it and say to yourself, I really didn't want it that bad. And I think that as we're talking about things that would or wouldn't keep you in this business, I think that you want to think about, why did you get in the beauty business? Of all the things that you could have chose, you chose to work in the beauty industry, in the beauty profession, either as a service provider, a stylist, a designer, a technician, an esthetician. It's the most fabulous business in the world, as long as you have a twinkle in your eye, as long as you wake up and you're doing exactly what you set out to do. That kind of ties in with another area that I'd like to go into with this recording, and that's based around the two words, it matters. It matters really was brought about to be part of your take-home dialogue. We believe, and if I were you, I would find a way to work this into my dialogue with every single guest. Maybe not every time, but every guest would have to hear this from me more than once. That it matters where you buy your take-home products from. Much of what you enjoy here in our salon is made possible through the profits from these products. We know that you have many options for where to buy your at-home hair care from. We would take it as a sincere compliment if you'd buy the products, and we appreciate your loyalty. If you'll say that, even if you leave off all of the other stuff, but if you'll say every time to your guest, it matters where you buy your take-home products from.
And what about the people that are saying, boy, does he sound good, I can never say that?
You could say it. All it takes is a willingness to be awkward with your words in the same way that you are awkward with your hands at one time. Anything you hear from Terry or from me or from a stage artist, You can make your own. Your personality will come through. You can make those words your own, but you have to be willing to practice them and rehearse them in the same way that you practiced and rehearsed doing a highlight, doing a haircut, doing a facial, or doing a massage. But it takes commitment. The bare minimum out of this that I would ask all of you is if you only capture saying to the guest, it matters where you buy your take-home products from. They'll ask you, oh yeah, why does it matter? Then you can say the rest. But it's important. They've got to know. See, because the customer, the guest, loves you. They support you. They want you to be there next time for them. They want you to be successful in that salon right now. If they know it matters, they will support you. But we've got to convey that. That's what keeps the twinkle in our eye. So Terry, from the guest standpoint, you've got a story that you call the female nudge. Mm-hmm. Could you explain that too?
Well, it's kind of hard to do without an audience, but
I'll be your audience.
You'll have to be my audience. I look at and I think about what it's like to go shopping with my girlfriends. And you can even see this when I'm shopping alone and other girlfriends are shopping together. First of all, we're shopping and we're walking through the store and we're making our selections and we're wrapping them over our arm. And then when we have enough, we go to the dressing room. And we say, are you ready? Are you ready? And we walk in. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Before we go in the dressing room, we make an agreement with each other that we agree to show each other everything that we've tried on. So we get into the dressing room and we start trying on our clothing. And let's say we're all done. And we walk out and your friend looks very disappointed. We agreed we were going to show everything. And then we make up some excuse as to why we didn't like it. When does a woman actually walk out of the dressing room to show a friend?
When it's right.
When it's right, when it's perfect, when she feels good and can't wait to show someone else. She walks out. She even has a different walk about her. Her shoulders are back. She's probably tousled her hair a little bit and walks out and says, what do you think about this? To her friend. And her friend goes, oh, that is so beautiful. You have to have that. What just took place is a female nudge. Because how do I respond when my friend says you have to have that? I act almost like I didn't know it looked that good on me. And I say, oh, you think? She goes, oh, yes, you have to have that, even if you have to hide it at home. I love that part of the story.
I hate that part of the story.
So anyway, what happens is before I even walked out of the dressing room, I made a decision to buy. I just wanted someone else to nudge me to do it. How does that translate in the salon? If I was a hairdresser, and this is when I get excited, or an esthetician, nail tech, anything, if I watched a product perform beautifully on someone's hair or skin, I'd say, oh my gosh, you have got to have this product. It performed so beautifully. And if she looks unsure, it's because she probably thinks she can't do it herself at home, and I'll have to say, look, I'm going to tell you what to do. This product has to go home. It's just done exactly what I wanted it to do. That's a female nudge, and women love that. Once again, they hate to be sold, but they love to buy. But they want to buy with someone. Is it better to shop by myself or with a bunch of people that are as excited about me buying as I am? And that's what a trip to the salon should be, because it's the beauty industry. That wouldn't happen in the grocery store, a female nudge.
Right.
But it is going to happen in a beauty environment.
It's a great story, and I think it's one of the things, if you think about the two lead things that can make a difference for you in selling take-home product, it's professional recommendation and a female nudge, or the equivalent of a female nudge. I have nudged a few females to buy product in my life, so it doesn't have to come from a female to a female. But many times, people do like to just have some confirmation that they're making a great choice. So, if we're conceptually together, what we wanted to do is kind of open your mind and say, are we going to let Wilma Flintstone or Jane Jetson sell to our customers, or are we going to be their professionals? That's a choice that you make every single day in 30 to 60-minute increments when you choose whether to talk about take-home or not. So, I'm going to trust that since you've invested money in this program, that you want to be the person that that grows and
Well,
that
you know
stays
what?
in our industry.
I want to make another mention. I was in the grocery store the other day, and I was looking for diapers probably or something. But I got down the shampoo aisle, which we hate, to see if products are on the shelves that shouldn't be there. But go into a grocery store and just watch the women and how puzzled they are in that row. When they're picking up product and they're reading it and they think, should I get this or not? One of the key advantages we have in a salon is when they look at it, they don't have to wonder, because we're right there to say, absolutely, or let me give you something else that would even be better for your hair. Mm-hmm. But I want you to watch them in a grocery store wanting someone to tell them what they should be doing.
Well, and Terry, there's so much proof that the guest wants to know. Mm-hmm. You and I both know that anytime we're out in public and people find out, they meet us for the first time and they find out what we do, we're going to get one of two responses. They're either going to say, oh my God, don't look at my hair, or they're going to say, what should I be using on my hair?
Or what salon should I be going to?
What salon should I be going to? People care about fashion, they care about their hair, and they realize that it's 70% of their first impression. And so it's really key that their hair looks great. Mm-hmm. So they want to know. Two things we have to assume. First of all, that 100% of our guests are buying hair care and skincare products. And second of all, that they want to know the right ones to buy. They want to make a wise choice. And that's where you as an expert come in. So let's talk about how we weave this into our salon experience.
Okay.
First of all, as a stylist, as a hair designer, I think that it's important that the conversation come up somewhere in the consultation or image profile. The questions that we ask is take me through what you do with your hair on a daily basis. The asterisk I want to put on that is I don't care as much what brands they're using as what types of products they're using. I don't want to get into a tug-of-war on somebody saying, oh, I use Pantene, is that good? Because the next thing out of your mouth, if it's answered wrong, you're going to lose, because people would have to admit they made a bad decision before they bought your product. So rather than go through that environment, we're going to find out what types of products they're using, and then based on your expert status, you're going to make a recommendation that would work for them today. That's the end of it. So,
and also during that time before you give your recommendation, you need to say, after what we've discussed and me putting my hands in your hair and feeling it and analyzing it right now, I'd like to give you my professional recommendation for the usage I'm going to use in the salon today and what you should be using at home.
And the key words, the key part about that is, with my hands in your hair, before you leave today, I'm going to make my professional recommendation for how you should maintain your hair at home.
Right.
Okay? So now, once we leave the consultation or image profile, we begin at the shampoo bowl. If you're doing your own shampoos, you show the guest, you explain, based on what we've talked about, this is the shampoo I'm going to use, and this is how much you'll use at home. Or I'll show you before you leave how much you'll use at home each day.
Now, we still are witnessing the multiple pumps at the shampoo bowl without explanation.
Well, and we lose a lot of credibility at the shampoo bowl sometimes. We lose a lot of credibility when we're using one product, one size fits all. We're losing a lot of credibility when we tell people that our product is so concentrated, that's why it's more expensive. I don't like saying that to a guest, because I don't like saying anything that is unnecessary, that's not true. Mm-hmm. There's so many good things we can say about our products without having to fabricate things. But you confuse the guest when you tell them how concentrated our product is, and you do 5 or 6 or 7 pumps of shampoo, and you fight the lather coming up out of the shampoo bowl. That sends a mixed message to the guest. So we always want to show them how much they'll be using on their hair at home to maintain their look. Same thing with a conditioner. Because of what you told me and because of what I see and feel in your hair, I'm selecting this conditioner for you today. This is how much you'll use at home. This is a conditioner you use daily, or this is a conditioner you will use 3 times a week, whatever your recommendation is.
And if you use it properly, this product should last you can even state that.
Sure. And so now, after that takes place, as you go to the styling station, what we're asking is that every time you pick a product up to use on the guest, that you explain what you're using and why.
Guest involvement.
You know, there's a funny thing. For years and years and years, I had a fear of dentists. And when I went to a new dentist and I wrote on the patient form under comments, I said, I'm terrified of the dentist. And in his consultation with me, he said, were you just kidding or were you serious? I said, no, I'm absolutely serious. I'm terrified to be here. And he said, how about if I make an agreement with you that any time I pick up an implement or a tool or a product to use on you while you're in my chair, I'll explain it thoroughly before I use that tool on you. Would that put you more at ease? And I said, I'm not sure, but let's try it. And what was amazing is just that agreement from a professional to a patient or a professional to a guest, the commitment that every time you touch a tool, every time you touch a liquid styling tool, or you're using a particular scissor, or you're using a particular clipper or a flat iron, that you explain what you're doing and why. It's that knowledge, it's that common knowledge that we want to establish with a guest that's going to set you apart and make their experience with you extraordinary today.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the commitment that you have at this styling station. Anything that we touch, any product that we use, we're going to, first of all, explain why we selected it.
And Wilma can't do that.
Wilma's not there anymore.
That's
she
right.
was only on a 30-second commercial. You're there every day for them.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to remember that. Second of all, after you've put the product into their hair, then we suggest that you put the bottle in their hands. Most of the manufacturers write a beautiful little paragraph at the back of the top of every bottle that's kind of like a silent salesperson. And if we put that product in their hand, it first of all assumes ownership. Second of all, it gives them a chance to not be afraid of professional products. And it starts the buying process. Remember, people hate to be sold, but they love to buy. And when we involve the guest and put the product in their hands, they're starting through the buying process. When we finish, any finishing products that you use, any variations of their look, remember, every variation of a look that you can share with your guest many times creates a separate product wardrobe. When we're showing them variations on the ways that they can wear their hair at its current length and current shape, we are opening up the door to a product wardrobe for straight hair, product wardrobe for hair with volume, a product wardrobe for curly hair, a product wardrobe for evening looks. And they want us to be that professional, no different than the Vogue magazine, Terry, that you're paging through, that shows people in clothing that can be worn at all different. I'm sure if we were to page through those 600 pages, we'd see things that were perfect for the gym or for workout. We'd see things that were perfect for every day in the office. We'd see things that were perfect for just being around home and relaxed loungewear. We would see evening wear. We would see all sorts of different types of how the fashion industry happens from a wardrobe standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
We have to make sure that hair care wardrobe, skin care wardrobe fits into that same thing. We're a part of that book. We're a part of that Vogue magazine.
Sure.
It's just we're a better part because we come to life.
Mm-hmm.
We're there face to face with that person. And so we've got a great opportunity today. Once we finish the at-home training, the conversation while we're working, I'd like to remind you that the guest believes that their time with you has ended when you turn the blow dryer on, most of the time. And you have an opportunity that if that's when you turn up your attention, that's when you'll really be able to establish yourself as a true professional. So let's be sure that we educate. Let's be sure that we dote on the customer a little bit. Let's be sure that we fuss over the customer a little bit more and a little bit extra.
Don't get so comfortable and take your guests for granted.
Yeah. Sometimes, because it's a repetitive business that happens in 30 to 60-minute increments, we take little coffee breaks only without the coffee. Sometimes we're there, but we're not there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's normal. But the great professionals, the people that go from average to extraordinary, are the people who fight through that and realize that this is this guest's only time with me. Mm-hmm. They may be my 10th guest of the day, but it's their only time with me. So I've got to make sure I make the most of it.
I think about also walking up to the front. We're with a guest. We're staying on the guest side of the big desk up in the front. We're talking about the products we recommended. What sizes would they like to take home and enjoy? And what happens then? Well, in many cases, we've acted like an expert, and now the front desk is going to cheapen our presentation to the customer. What I mean by is this. I think about when I purchase professional products. I wear Bobbi Brown, so I purchase them at Neiman Marcus or at Nordstrom. And when I'm at Nordstrom, they wrap it all up in tissue, and they place it in a beautiful Nordstrom bag or a Neiman Marcus bag. And then they come around my side of the makeup counter, and they hand me my purchases and say,
They actually present you your bag.
They present you your bag and
Two
say,
hands.
enjoy your purchases. You made wonderful selections. And I say thank you, and I hold the bag ever so proud, and I walk through the rest of the store wanting them to know I just made a beauty purchase. I could also go to Walgreens. And when I go to Walgreens, I could buy things that are part of my beauty regimen, and they place it in that plastic bag that's hanging from those two wires that are stuck to the next bag that you have to pull apart. And they don't wrap anything, they just throw it in there, and you pick it up and you say goodbye, and you don't care if anyone sees your bag. In fact, you're hoping they don't see your bag. Let's say you and I are in the car and we drive home. What bag am I carrying into the house for sure?
The Nordstrom bag.
The Nordstrom little makeup, my perfect little bag.
Which bag am I carrying in?
The Walgreens. Come on, get in the house. All right, get the mail, get in the house, get the garbage cans. Now, when we walk in the house, I'm going to unwrap those purchases and look at them again. And I might even show you. Because a woman buys 3 times. She purchases when she bought them. She purchases them when she unwraps them. And then she's going to purchase them again when she uses them the first time. That's the beauty of women. We just love to be surrounded by luxury. So I unwrap it and I say, ooh, look at my translucent powder. Isn't it beautiful?
And I'm thrilled.
And you're thrilled for me. And the beautiful black box that it comes in. I look at it and I throw it out. But the box is so beautiful that I think about keeping the box because it's so gorgeous. Maybe I can use it for something else. So I have to fight with myself to even throw...
You actually have kept them sometimes.
I have kept them. It's silly, but I have. And then I throw them away, and I hate throwing them out. And then I unwrap the translucent powder, and I take off the protective plastic shield. And on the translucent powder, you have to cut the plastic to allow the powder to come out. And you're holding it ever so gently. Then the first time I actually use my pressed powder, and I pick up the unsoiled powder puff, and I take off the plastic shield on my pressed powder, and I rub it so lightly. I almost think about keeping the plastic shield, too, because maybe that'll keep my pressed powder nicely longer. And then I have to throw that away and part with that. But I loved being surrounded by my beauty items. I like it the way they look on my vanity. I like the way they look in my makeup bag. I like the way they look in the shower, if they're gels or shampoos or whatever. The whole reason for this story is, what is it like purchasing from you at the salon? Is it like a Nordstrom purchase, or is it like Walgreens, throw it in the bag? Many salons don't get this.
Well, and Terry, I want to put an asterisk on this because I don't want stylists listening to think, oh, that's the way our salon does it. Our salon does it more like Walgreens than like Nordstrom. We've all been to Nordstrom or Neiman Marcus where we've had somebody treat our products and our purchases like a Walgreens, even though it may be their company method to handle it differently. You are the difference. You make the difference in whether it's a Walgreens experience or a Nordstrom experience.
Or you bring that up at a meeting and say, how could we go about this? Can we try this? Can we present this? Do you think our customers would respond differently if we did this?
I remember a story that Robert Cromines told after we had been to his salon and done a program. They really latched on to this idea. First of all, they acquired the dialogue of take-home. They no longer called it retail, they called it take-home. And they put their logo, a Robert Cromines salon, and take-home on their beautifully now black lacquer retail bags that have the string, the twine handles on the top. And they have bought tissue paper in every color of the Paul Mitchell categories. So when someone's buying Instant Moisture, they use that beautiful light blue tissue paper to wrap the Instant Moisture purchase in. And one of the things that they make absolutely mandatory at their salon is that their receptionist walk around the desk and present the product and say, enjoy your purchases. That's a little thing.
That's made a huge difference.
It's made a huge difference.
And it had initial impact immediately.
And it always will. The time that you spend fussing over a guest
is noticed.
Will always have a payback. It will always have a payback. So I think it's really important that you spend time and say, where would you want to work as a professional? Would you want to work in a place that just slapped products in a bag, or would you want to work in a place that was seen as a high-service, high-touch salon?
That's exactly right.
So now we have helped them with their purchases, at the same time perhaps taken them through any promotional offerings, gift with purchase, purchase with purchase.
What we didn't make mention of is new product launches. How often is the guest said, I haven't seen this product, and we say something like, well, that product's been here 8 or 9 months. If the customer hasn't seen it, that means the product's brand new. And we have to make our new sales presentation to that guest for the first time.
Mm-hmm. And we've got to have the same enthusiasm, the same care and attention that we did the first time we ever talked about that product.
Mm-hmm.
See, our intent with this is to reawaken you to the importance of take-home products, to the importance in your future and in your success, and in your success in the salon that you're at right now that's tied to take-home products.
Let's go into dialogue about the guest only wanting to use one portion of the system I recommended.
Okay. Let's do that. We're going to do a couple of things on dialogue. So, Terry, you'll role play, you'll be the guest, and I'll be the stylist.
Sure.
So I've made my recommendation for your shampoo, conditioner, styling product, and hairspray. I've recommended 4 products to you today. And we're standing at the big desk, receptionist on the other side of the counter. You and I are shoulder to shoulder. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you say to me what?
I think I'm only going to take the shampoo.
Okay. And for what reason would you want to start just with the shampoo today, Terry?
Well, because I don't know if everything's going to work. Cost factor, I don't know. I'm just going to go with the shampoo. I think that's a good place to start.
Okay. And you very well may decide that, Terry, but one thing that I want to kind of reframe for you is that if you take just the shampoo today, all of the things that I promised, you being able to recreate the look at the current length and shape of your hair that we did for you, was made possible because of all 4 of these products that I used in your hair today. What I want you to know is that all of these products carry a 100% money-back guarantee. They're designed to work well together, and I've made them as a professional recommendation as a group. Should you take less than all 4 of those products, I need to readjust kind of your thinking and my promises to you on how those products will work. I'd much rather you wait until you could buy all 4 of these together than to just sample any one on its own.
Do you have a smaller size where I could try all 4 to see how I do with them?
I do have some smaller sizes available, trial sizes or travel sizes that we have in the salon, and I could work real hard for you to make sure that you do have a representation of all 4 products before you leave today.
I'm just not that good at my hair. It looks great when you do it, but when I get home, I'm clumsy.
Well, one of the things that I want you to think about is that maybe part of the clumsy is because you haven't had the same tools that you work with. I work real hard with you while you're in here, but the great thing is that I've also got a great extension of my talent in these tools and in these products, and that's why I like to share them with you to go home. What I want you to know is part of what you sign on for when you buy these products is that should you struggle tomorrow or any day in the future recreating this look, please feel free to call me or to stop back in, and I'll work with you so that we can recreate this look. I'm very committed to a lifelong relationship with you and the added confidence that comes from you looking and feeling your best. That's part of what these products are about. Can I help you get started on all 4 of these today?
Yes.
Great.
Let's just start with the smaller sizes to make sure I really can do it.
Perfect.
Okay.
The next one that I'd like to role play is what happens when the guest says, I use Pantene and is that good? Or they say, can I use anything on the over-the-counter market? What can I get at Walmart that would be as good as this?
Okay. All right, let me start. You've made your recommendation. Now I say, well, because the salon is 30 minutes away, is there anything on the open market, like that I can get in the grocery store, that can accomplish the same thing?
Well, Terry, quite honestly, I don't know all of the products that are on the market, but I do have all of them available to us in this salon. And as experts, we have our hands in hair all day long, and based on that, the products that we use here are the ones that we found to be the best. They're the ones that have my personal and professional recommendation, and they carry our salon's full 100% money-back guarantee. So while I can't speak to all of the other products that are on the market, I can speak to the quality and the enjoyment that you'll have from these products. Is that fair enough?
Yes, it is fair enough. I hate when I run out between visits, or if I were to run out.
Well, you know, Terry, that's the other thing that's great about our salon, is that we have these products in various sizes. And they really are metered to be able to last you in between salon visits. So if we find that this 16 ounce isn't lasting you in between salon visits, then we do have an economy size that you can refill the 16 ounce size out of. That's kind of our job to work on together. It's my job to make sure that you have the product that you need so that you can have the added confidence that comes from looking and feeling your best.
I use a lot of shampoo, a lot. And so I'm sometimes afraid. This is very expensive.
Well, show me how you use shampoo. What's the process that you go through?
I use a handful, and I do 2 shampoos every day, about a handful, because my hair is...
A whole handful?
Yeah, whole handful.
And then you put it in your hand, and then what do you do with it?
I just put it on my hair, and I start the shampoo process.
Just kind of plop that hand right on the top of your...
Yes.
Right on the top of your head. One of the things I'd like to work with you on is taking the shampoo and distributing that first between both of your hands. So it means
and how much?
Setting down the bottle. Probably about the size of a 50-cent piece.
Oh, I use a lot more than that.
Yeah, probably about the size of a 50-cent piece. Work that between your hands and then apply it to your hair, both hands, and work that through and distribute it through. A second application is at your choice. Many people do it. In fact, most of my guests do a dual shampoo, and it works just fine. You'll need less shampoo the second time because the first shampoo has removed much of the product sediment and the environmental pollutants that gather in your hair during the day. By the second shampoo, you don't need nearly as much. So maybe on the second shampoo, a quarter or a little bit more than a dime would work and lather up well for you.
All right.
So experiment with that a little bit.
Okay.
The other thing to call in mind is that people say when they've used over-the-counter products that they do tend to use more product because they have to. And I find you really don't have to with our brand.
Thank you.
Okay.
You know, I've been using Pantene for a while, and I love it. I love it. What do you think about it?
Well, Terry,
I love the smell.
There's many great products on the market. And as a professional, we have access to all brands. Based on us having our hands in hair all day long, this is the brand that we've chosen. This is what we use. It's what we recommend. And it's what I've found to be the best.
So you think it's better than Pantene?
I think it's the best product I've ever found. And rest assured, as a professional, if I believed in my heart Pantene was the best, I'd be using it. So I think you'll enjoy these products. I've made a recommendation for you. These 4 products is really what you'll need to recreate the look and have the added confidence that comes from looking and feeling your best every day.
So you make money off it here if I buy from you?
You know what, Terry, I'm glad you brought that up because if I haven't said it already, I want you to know that it matters where you buy your products from. Part of the reason why that I'm talking to you about your at-home hair care today is because, number one, I'm responsible for you having healthy and vibrant hair every day. Also, much of what you enjoy here in our salon is made possible through the profit from these products. We appreciate your loyalty. We're committed to always being on the cutting edge and being here for you in the future. The products are part of the way we do that. So it does matter to me where you buy them.
Now, Steve, that was great. Do you think we've just scared people with your role plays?
I hope not.
Well, but they still, once again, have to be willing to be uneasy and awkward with their words like they were technically at first. Dialogue isn't easy. It doesn't come overnight, and it takes a lot of attempts to be really graceful and master it.
It takes a lot of attempts, and it takes a really strong intent. If your intention is to be great, you'll be awkward with your words on the way to learning to be very good with your words.
I mean, a 19 or a 22-year-old go, I cannot talk like that.
Yes, they could.
Yes, they could.
I started in this industry when I was 16 years old, and I hope by the time I was 17, 18, 19 years old I had at least some things that I was very good in dialogue with. So it's very, very possible. The thing that I can tell you is that from having been a young person in this industry, part of the way you gain respect early is with your dialogue. So for those 19 and 20-year-olds that may be listening to this, please take specific interest in your dialogue. You start there first with your dialogue because it's how you will gain the respect of people much older than you.
What's typical dialogue we hear in the industry when it comes to take-home?
Do you need any products today?
And that's it.
I hear that. I hear, do you still have that shampoo I sold you last time? Well, how long does a bottle of shampoo last you?
It's not romantic. It's not captivating. It's not passion-driven or contagious. It's boring.
Yeah, it's boring, and if we are bored with it,
we're boring.
We're boring, and we allow our guests to be bored. And we are in too exciting an industry for anybody to ever be bored with what we do on a daily basis. Your future unfolds. There are very few professions in this world with unlimited opportunity. We've seen people make a little bit of money. We've seen people make a lot of money. And it very rarely is tied solely to their technical ability. Most of the time it's tied to their dialogue.
And customer service.
To their disciplines. And it's tied to their intent to service at a perfect level. All right, Terry, is there anything else that you think we need to cover?
I think the only thing I would have added to your dialogue, it's a second thought that I have right now is when someone asks me about Pantene or someone asks me about what's going on in the drugstore or the retail market, or someone asks me my professional recommendation, it's also okay to state that I'm a user of these products myself. And I have access to everything, and I choose to use these on me.
It's a good point.
Right?
Sure.
I mean, this is my product wardrobe at home. And that also attaches itself almost to a female nudge or recommendation as well. Right? I've enjoyed this. I hope that we've conveyed our passion for what could be in the salon if we understand that we have to be as committed to the front of the house as we are to the back of the house, meaning the technical side. And I hope they're willing to be uncomfortable with their words.
Absolutely.
You make it sound so easy. And it's like playing golf or anything. You have to work at it to get there.
Sure. And one of the things...
Like your golf game's not,
It's not very good because I'm practicing my dialogue every minute. One of the things that I'd like everyone to think about is, and we've usually said this by now, is that take-home is one of the 3 quality control checks that we use to see if the guest is going to return in the future.
And when we're talking to your owners about if you're working out for them, those are the 3 things we ask for. We'd like to know what that dollar per guest is in retail sales or take-home. We want to know, are you rescheduling your guest? Are you bringing in any new guest? And if those things are happening, then it probably means you're taking care of the guest to the degree that they will return to the business. Remember, your number one responsibility as a hair or beauty professional is to create a repeat customer. So if the customer is saying this category has to be a wow for them, you have a responsibility to make sure that you are as good at this area as you are anywhere else in the salon.
And also something to keep in mind is that when the guest says yes to buying product, they're saying yes to you.
They're saying yes to the professional recommendation.
And when they're not buying product and they're saying no to the product, they're saying no to you.
And don't fake it. Don't fake it. That's really important. You better be attending all the education that's available in the salon. Because as soon as that product doesn't perform the way you said it would, that customer is going to lose all faith in your professional recommendation from that day forward. You can't take that risk. Not in their eyes, because it affects your reputation. Not only with them, but for anyone they could have possibly referred to you in that salon. That's a vulnerable spot for you to be in if you're not the expert.
Sure. And in closing, to summarize this or bring it all together, I'd like for all of you to take this on as a challenge. I'd like you to make a quality decision today to make a difference in the way you speak about take-home hair care, to make a difference in the number of people that you speak to about buying take-home hair care products. Most of the things that you dream about as an industry professional, most of the things that you would love for your salon owner to do for you, are made possible through the profits from these products. It is absolutely critical that we find a way as a salon to have one voice and to use the common knowledge that we have to have a strategic alliance with a limited number of product manufacturers and trainers that allow us to collectively move together as a salon and really make something extraordinary happen. That's what every one of our words and all of our effort has been on this recording, is to open up your eyes a little bit more to the possibility of what you can become as a professional standing behind the chair.
Success is all yours. Thank you for your time.
It matters that you spent this time with us. Thank you.
Okay, here's an afterthought. It is not the responsibility of the front desk concierge staff to give their professional recommendation to the guest. It's your job. Do not drop and ditch. It's not time for you to escort that guest up and forget about this last part of the sale. This is when the customer is told once again everything you've recommended, what products, what sizes that they would like to take home with them, and you stay with that guest till the enjoy their purchases can be said. It's not comfortable, and it's very awkward for a guest to say, well, Mary recommended something. I think she said it was the orange cap shampoo. Now, do you see what just happened? The customer then feels awkward. The front desk person feels awkward because they shouldn't have to be put in that position either. It's your job to stay there and be with them until the guest is ready to leave the business. Now, if you say, I don't have time to do that, then you probably need to look at your scheduling, because if you don't have time to finish the sale, you didn't have time to take care of the guest in the first place. The other thing is what are you reading right now in customer service? A great favorite always is to pick up Raving Fans, because that's what you want your guests to be of yours as a service provider. Raving Fans is a great read. It keeps your dialogue fresh. Also, the 1-Minute Salesperson is a great read, especially when you don't think you're in sales. Everyone's in sales. So pick that book up also and get some great tips on how to keep your mind focused when you're servicing a guest.